to take as many messages as possible. Yesterday I couldn't because we had a problem with the WhatsApp app, and so it was updating. That is why I couldn't read most of your messages. But this morning I will attempt to read as many as I can. Nonetheless, we are streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. So for the very many of you who are intending to send messages and you cannot send it on WhatsApp or text message, you can simply go underneath the live stream and comment on same. We will be more than excited to read the messages here for you. Now, this morning, what are we discussing? We are discussing a number of issues here on the show. And Ivory Coast opposition leader resigns. Ivory Coast opposition leader resigns. CD rebounds from Wells West to best performing currency. Economic Times newspaper. I think my producer is calling you. Constitutional crisis. Minority condemns absence of president, VIP, and speaker. This is a very important topic, and I'll be more than excited to to get into this. And we'll touch on Sammy Gyamfi's brouhaha this morning. So let's go to Ivory Coast, Saudi Shak. The opposition leader has resigned. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe, we also were told, I believe it is Chad. Is it Chad or Eritrea? I think one of them, I've forgotten the country, that the president had banned opposition leaders. No, it was Mali. Yeah, Mali. Mali. Going to had, but I think we discussed this.
Yeah, we discussed this
last week rather. So we are seeing, but you see, I don't want to see light shrouded as evil on what is happening on the continent. I'm seeing that there's a little renaissance, not a little, in fact there's a political renaissance that is sweeping across the continent, right? And it appears that we've not really focused on the positive effect of that. We're just simply looking at the negatives and highlighting the negatives. But perhaps there's that potency of restoring some dignity and sanctity in our African political discourse. But we must also do so in a manner that will find expression in logic, morality, and a concept of democracy that is in tune with the cultures and values of people within those countries, right? How do we ensure effective, I don't want to use the word democracy, because democracy in itself has different components, and the application of it, in one country may be different from the other. But of course, there's this universal acceptance that democracy ought to be practiced in a certain light. But in my humble, respectful opinion, democracy must be sort of subsumed under the cultures and values of different, African countries, because they have their systems and practices, and they must just simply use the components or the tenets of the democracy, to further their own cultural values and traditions. But let me come to you, Audishak, on the first topic, where we are told that opposition leader has resigned. Could it be intimidation? Did he resign under duress? Is there any political justification for his resignation, or a political undertone which occasioned this resignation? And if so, what are the effects of opposition leaders resigning from active politics, on the continent?
Thank you, Kwame. I think that let me say good morning to the cherished viewers of Pan-African TV, and a very good morning as well to the PNC as a whole. Kwame, political science teaches us that there's an essence and a reason for which we have opposition political parties or opposition forces.
For the purpose of emphasis, let me just give us the context, if you don't mind. Is it okay? All right. So Tijani Thiam has resigned as leader of the biggest opposition party in Cote d'Ivoire. Thiam blamed judicial harassment, for his decision to leave the presidency of the Democratic Party of Cote d'Ivoire. The Democratic Party of Cote d'Ivoire was due to meet yesterday to name an interim leader. Thiam's presidency was already the subject of a court challenge. A party activist petition in the court, questioning the legality of his election as party leader in December 2023. It is the latest roadblock the former banker has faced in his quest to become Cote d'Ivoire's president. Last month, a magistrate in Abidjan invoked the country's nationality law to order Thiam's removal from the voters' register, effectively ending his bid for the presidency. Thiam held French citizenship before renouncing it to become Ivorian. In a video statement last Sunday, Thiam said he was the target of a harassment campaign. He accused his attackers of instrumentalizing the judiciary. Tijani Thiam, a very French banker, was elected leader of the main opposition Democratic Party of Cote d'Ivoire, a victory which puts him in a position to contest the next presidential election in 2025. So clearly, I wasn't wrong when I said maybe he resigned under duress or because of some political systemic creation, that is pushing him out of the political contest.
So Kwame, like I was saying, it's not for nothing that you have opposition parties or opposition forces in a democracy. And to the extent that even when democratic credentials or any democratic dispensation for that matter is even overthrown, you still have people within the system who offer a certain form of resistance or opposition to those in power, and it is for good reason. Now, we all know that the opposition party is mandated or expected to keep those in charge of the affairs of the country on their toes, to ensure that they do as much as possible what is right and is in the interest of the people for whom they are supposed to be serving. And so to the extent that you would have opposition leaders want to resign and take a backstage and not want to openly, as it were, exercise the kind of a power that they are supposed to exercise as far as the name opposition is concerned must be worrying.
Right.
Because even when we have opposition parties taking the government to task or taking those in power to task, we still experience the kind of decadence that we are experiencing. We still experience the kind of underperformance that we witness for ourselves. And so it is important that we re-examine some of these things, that opposition parties or opposition leaders or opposition elements must not be intimidated or cowed to the extent that they want to resign and not take the government to task. When that happens, at the end of the day, it is the country as a whole that is going to suffer, because people would have that free pass, they would have that free will without any form of resistance to do whatever they think they can do once they have that power. But if you have an opposition in place that is constantly reminding the government of the day or the leaders in power that we see what you do, once it is wrong we will criticize you, or once we think that you are doing things not in the interest of the people, we would come after you. As much as possible, I am sure that the government elements of the day would try to regulate the way they conduct themselves in office. But anything short of that, Kwame, I'm not sure that they will do things to the benefit of the people for whom they are supposed to service. So in this particular instance, I think that the opposition leader must just not resign. He must develop that thick skin. At least reading from the story, like you indicated, he has cited a number of reasons for which he thinks that he has to give way. But that is not the way to go. We must keep fighting once it is in the interest of the people, so that at the end of the day, we would be remembered for having stood up some time back when the need arose.
Very well, thank you very much. Let me come to Dr. Ramsey on this same subject matter. Doc, please proceed.
Colin, Ivory Coast will not cease to surprise us. And I've always had a very strong stance on the way and manner in which democracy is being practiced in Ivory Coast. I call it a country where their president has held the country hostage with a democratic coup. 83 years, Ouattara is seeking another term. And he is doing anything possible by using state institutions to try and suppress the voice and the ability of the opposition parties to be able to give some form of pressure on his government to uphold to the rule of law and also to be accountable to the people of Ivory Coast. The Democratic Party of La Côte d'Ivoire, which is PDCI, who Tidjani Thiam belongs to, has been a very formidable force in Ivorian political discourse. You quite remember the founder of, the founding president of La Côte d'Ivoire, Houphouët-Boigny, who has placed Ivory Coast in a place where the Ivorians enjoyed a lot of economic development. You quite know that Ivory Coast today is one of the largest, if not the largest exporter of cocoa beans in the world. And so, if you look at the development in regards to this issue, it's no different from what happened in Ghana, where the Supreme Court was used as a weapon against the opposition, the case of Jachi Kwesi and the likes. And the reason why this development has caught some attention across Africa is that there's one key issue here, Kwame. The court, the magistrate court in La Côte d'Ivoire, adjudicated that Tidjani is not fit to run for president because he holds a dual citizenship, right? And that it was too late for him to relinquish that, as he has already done, to run for presidency. And unfortunately, the laws of Ivory Coast are funny in such a way that you cannot appeal this verdict by the court. And so he only has time to decide his political faith in La Côte d'Ivoire. And you know that this is a person who has worked for reputable institutions, including the British Prudential Insurance. He's worked with Swiss banks like Credit Suisse and all that. So he brings some form of great erudition into the Ivorian political landscape. On the other hand as well, he is also a nephew of Houphouët-Boigny, who is the founding president of La Côte d'Ivoire. And so Ouattara is trying to pave way for a smooth victory. This is what I see in La Côte d'Ivoire, right? He's trying to pave way so that he will not have a very solid opposition opposing his aspirations to maintain the presidency for another term. But all I can say is that ECOWAS again has been caught up in this mess of not speaking against the injustice met by the opposition in La Côte d'Ivoire. Laurent Gbagbo, on the other hand, has been barred from contesting this election. Right? The former prime minister also has been barred from contesting this election. So it's a very deliberate attempt by the president, Alassane Ouattara, to pave way for his successful victory in this coming October election. But we are saying that, again, as you also posited, that democracy should be done according, or should be upheld according to our cultural norms and characteristics, right? And it should be upheld according to the rule of law. Democracy in Africa has been abused over some decades now, and it seems it is not contributing to some form of good governance, right, in Africa. And that is why most of us in Ghana here are yearning for a constitutional change, because all the actions perpetrated by Ouattara is justified by the newly amended constitution of La Côte d'Ivoire. And so we are saying that, yes, ECOWAS has to rise up to the occasion. There's a need for the government of the day to uphold to the rule of law. And of course, we know that Lassana Ouattara is a puppet of the French. He's backed by the French and he's backed by the West for their own parochial interests. And this is a leader that I do not see him in the lights of, or in the league of leaders that have really transformed their country, like the likes of Paul Kagame of Rwanda, the likes of Ibrahim Traore, who has just been in power for this few years, but Burkina has seen some transformative change in their infrastructure and in their economy. And I am pleading that there will be calm heads in La Côte d'Ivoire. As we all know, that La Côte d'Ivoire is a very volatile region politically. We've seen what the civil war created in La Côte d'Ivoire. And so this is time the West, other CSOs, and ECOWAS and the African Union should come out and also give their clear position or their clear stance on this matter, so that we can see La Côte d'Ivoire have a form of successful elections and different factions in the political discourse would uphold to the rule of law, and there will be peace in La Côte d'Ivoire.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Honorable Stanley.
Oh, good morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nandaya, MP, Willense constituency.
Thank you.
We're just meeting for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we've been speaking on the phone.
Yes, on the phone.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah. Fine, thank you.
Very well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the other issues. And let me remind viewers again that we are streaming live on Facebook.com/ Pan-African Television. We are also on Instagram and on Twitter, Pan-African Television. The WhatsApp number is on your screens. Yesterday, I saw Sammy Gyamfi at the presidency myself. In the morning when I had an important meeting there, I met him. You know, he went to meet with the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra. And, you know, I also saw that Madame Valerie Sawyer was there. I saw some, you know, very high-profile NDC, members there. And, you know, so, of course, because of the invitation that was extended to him, I knew exactly why he was there and why he came for that meeting. They went into the office of the Chief of Staff, and, you know, they stayed there for quite a long time. And then, you know, he, together with the other seniors, some of them exited. So clearly, I can confirm that yesterday he was really at the presidency. So this is not just a publicity stunt. This is actually a truism that he was, in fact and indeed, at the presidency and had met the Chief of Staff. What was discussed, we do not know. But, you know, the fact that he was invited, an invitation was extended to him, the fact that I can confirm that I saw him at the Jubilee House is telling of the fact that government is actually very interested, or the executive is very interested in this matter. Now, the Daily Graphic has published the story, and indeed, the Daily Graphic is also not wrong, because the Daily Graphic is also giving account, according to them, from an insider who attested to the fact that Sammy was at the presidency yesterday. This was around, he came there around 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:30 thereabout in the morning, because we exchanged pleasantries and all of that. He was wearing a red tie, so I remember that he was actually he was there. Now, the invitation by the Chief of Staff is in relation to a viral video of him giving out some currency. And later we came to know the currency to be USD. The amount involved is unbeknown to all of us. So we are all of us are conjecturing. We don't know the exact amount that was given to the said lady. Now, immediately after, an apology was issued by Sammy Gyamfi in response to the reviews, the commentaries, and of course the political meal that the New Patriotic Party was preparing out of the unfortunate incident that occasioned. Let me start with you, Dr. Ramsey Inusa. Let me start with you. Yeah.
Yes, we all saw the incident. In fact, we were informed by that incident, on that incident through various social media handles. And I must say that as being a political actor in this political space, and coming from the political class, I mean, my father being the former campaign manager of President Kufuor and all that, I want to see any politician who doesn't give money out in this regard, and I'll quit my political career today. I want to see a politician who doesn't give out money to people when they ask, especially people that are in need. I mean, this brouhaha brought to the doors of Sammy Gyamfi is much ado about nothing. I mean, it's just a waste of time, right? This is a gentleman who has really fought a hard fight, brought his party into power. He is a lawyer, by the way. In fact, I think he is set to work for an oil and gas firm who he consults for regularly. And so people are asking whether somebody who has just risen to the position of the CEO of the gold board and all of a sudden you are sharing dollars, that is just mere propaganda. Why? If people are saying $3,000 or $10,000, so are you telling me that Sammy Gyamfi's whole life, right, being in the political space, he cannot earn, or he cannot, I mean, being a lawyer even, counsel, you're a lawyer, you know, you guys earn big, you earn more than the doctors anyway. So that one is even a non-starter. But taking into consideration the kind of political landscape that we're dealing with, that everything is politicized. I mean, the MPP should be the last political party to really raise concerns about this issue. They do not have the moral rights and the moral standings whatsoever to raise issues about this matter, because this is quite different from what we are known with. That on a live television, a certain chairman who mines illegally and has degraded our forest reserves, right, comes to a live television program and holds real gold bars and says this is real money. This is real money, where a report by Professor Frimpong Boateng cited that Akunta mining was mining in our forest reserves. What happened to Chairman Wontumi? The president cleared him, no sanctions against him, and I would like to commend the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources for revoking his license. Right? I want to commend this kind minister, because we cannot be met with such propaganda and think that Ghanaians are, excuse me to say, stupid and will buy into the mere...
Let's contextualize the conversation.
Yes.
The reason why it has become such a public, if you like, concern,
yes,
right, is by reason of the code of conduct which was launched by His Excellency the President,
yeah,
which code of conduct is admonishing appointees of this administration to be very circumspect and to avoid the display of opulence.
Okay.
The presumption is that what Sammy did was an act of opulence, was an act of indiscriminate, expression of opulence at the expense of what the Ghanaian people are going through as at this material moment, albeit the government is striving to revive the economy. You publicly demonstrating that you have forex, you have this, you have that, and giving them out is something that the president abhors, and that is why it has become a public, he's being scrutinized publicly. Do you subscribe to that assertion?
I don't subscribe to that assertion. I mean, you can argue that based on law and in accordance with the Currency Act 1964, and say that nobody should transact with dollars by procuring goods and services or give dollars.
But there's no transaction here. So.
And there's no exactly, but that's what I'm saying, that people might even argue that the transaction is that I am helping somebody buy fuel. That is a transaction, counsel. Right? People will argue that the transaction is that I am giving money for somebody to buy fuel. But that is even a non-starter in the first place. I mean, he did not publicly show his dollars. He was in his car. Indeed. Giving money to this lady, Agrada, who I hear is a person who used to be an animist, but now has converted into a pastor. Counsel, this was a person, again, who was seen giving money in his car. Indeed, in his confined private space, which is his vehicle. The person who took the video invaded his private space, because if you even look at the video, he turned his back on the woman whilst giving money. So the intent was not to display the money publicly, but the intent was to show kindness, right? But the only thing that people are, as you reiterated, is that yes, he shouldn't have shared dollars, or he should have kept it in an envelope and given it to her. Whichever way, be that as it may, we cannot sit down here and say that the monies that Sammy Gyamfi gave to Agrada was stolen public funds. Nobody can establish that accusation in the first place. And that's why I say that a lot of these politicians that are making noise today are hypocrites. Big time hypocrites. Especially from the MPP, Nana's People's Party, not the New Patriotic Party. Because people in the New Patriotic Party are mute about this. But it's just people from Nana's People's Party that are making noise. Show me a person in the MPP who criticized Wuntumi's public display of gold bars. Show me. Show me who in the MPP came out to criticize the issue of Cecilia Dapa. Show me. So they should save us this propaganda and time and all this nonsense that they are conducting in our political space. The fact is that this is a young man who is doing well in his political career. We should not sit down here and try and smear dirt on him. Yes, we know that in politics, if you're a frontline communicator, it's one of the most difficult jobs. It is because you make a lot of enemies. And his position as the chief communication officer of the NDC has created, I mean, he has done so much well. Fought against the MPP when they were in opposition and revealed a lot of rot and secrets, as we also have done on this space. And my current expose is to do with the disparity of the gold reserves that was reported by Dr. Addison against what is being reported currently at the Bank of Ghana, right? Because they claim they bought about 67 tons of gold worth $6.87 billion. Just to know that the Bank of Ghana is reporting about 37 or so tons of gold reserves at their vault. And so there's a great disparity of the figures, and we need clarity on that. Just as it is, there is a current issue with Eduboy and Son, right, of stealing 49 million Ghana cedis of public funds, right? And he's alleging that this money was given to the opposition and was given to the aid of President Mahama, etc., etc., right? And this is a deliberate attempt, a political agenda by the MPP to try and shift attention from what really matters a lot. Somebody stealing 49 million Ghana cedis and somebody dashing his own money, hard-earned money, in dollars, less than $10,000. I think it will be about 3,000 or so, as others have really spelled it out. But my case is that, counsel, this is just a deliberate political attempt by the MPP to try and smear that on the government of the day.
We'll come back.
We are not going to buy into this mere propaganda. Sammy Gyamfi did nothing wrong, and they should leave him alone.
Okay. What are your views on this subject matter as well? Dr. Ramzinus has expressed his opinion on this matter. What are your views on it? Do you think that Sammy Gyamfi erred? Let me come to you. The conversation is predicated on different stills. One has got to do with strict compliance with the code of conduct that was launched by the president. The other is what, in the estimation of many, is really angering the grassroots. That if it were any other person, you know, if it were any other person, fine. But because of this particular woman who chastised, insulted, you know, even went to the extent of saying that if President Mahama won, he was going to quit and go back to his, his idol worshipping. So it is, to many, beyond the code of conduct, it's also about the individual involved. So let's contextualize the conversation. Let's look at the strict compliance in relation to code of conduct and what has angered the base in relation to the individual to whom Sammy gave the money.
Thank you, Kwame.
Oh, and the third leg is about the dollarization.
Thank you, Kwame. Now, to start off from the point of so-called strict compliance with the code of conduct. In all of this conversation, right, including the press conference, the needless press conference organized by the New Patriotic Party, at what point in time has anyone or any group of people been able to point to anything in the code of conduct recently launched and say that Sammy's conduct has violated this particular provision in the code of conduct as launched by the president? I have not read the code of conduct back to back, but I know that with the way this particular matter is going, with how people are proceeding with this particular matter, if there was anything, any provision in the code of conduct that has been contravened or infringed upon by the conduct of Sammy Gyamfi, by now it would have been pointed out. But people are only applying logic, people are only applying a mischief, people are only relying on their feelings and sentiments as far as discussing this particular matter is concerned. I think that that young man, Sammy Gyamfi, has suffered for far too long. We all know how Sammy sacrificed for the NDC. I am not showing that he is above reproach. I am not showing that if he does something wrong, he cannot be reprimanded. I am not against the decision by the presidency, acting through the chief of staff, to invite him to come and explain himself. But what I keep saying is that the fact that something is wrong does not mean that someone has committed a crime or has engaged in some illegality of a sort. Come, you are a lawyer. We are learning under your feet. It's not every wrong that is a crime. You understand? But to the extent that people want to, as it were, based on this single act of indiscretion or misjudgment by our friend, Sammy Gyamfi is everybody's friend. I know that a lot of people have been looking for opportunity to go at him. So there are those who are clinging on to this particular matter and shouting to the rooftops and back. All of this hue and cry, for me, Kwame, is bordered on partisan political interest, within and without. But there are people even in the NDC and in this government who feel that they should have been at the gold board and not Sammy Gyamfi. People in government feel that President John Dramani Mahama should have made them CEOs of gold board, or let me even say managing directors of PMMC, who transitioned into the gold board. Who doesn't know the amount of work Sammy Gyamfi put in as far as transforming even the PMMC into a gold board is concerned? Today, we are all talking about the stability of the city so far, the strength that the city has gained against the dollar. And the finance ministry tells us that it is as a result of how we are managing the gold trade today. And that is part of the role of the gold board. And this Sammy Gyamfi is leading the gold board. And today everybody is proud about the prudent management of the city so far, which cannot, as it were, be decoupled from the role of the gold board, I cannot understand how anybody will be calling for Sammy Gyamfi's head. Much more a micro minority that appears to have lost focus and that they want to jump at anything immediately after taking part in a certain botched demonstration, a much advertised demonstration that amounted to nothing at the end of the day, in support and in solidarity with the suspended chief of staff. Today they are organizing a press conference simply because Sammy Gyamfi decided to gift somebody some money. Like Dr. Ramsey said, if somebody goes to sit in his car and somebody's prying lenses go inside the car and they see him count money and you see him give the money to another person, what crime has he committed? What crime has Sammy Gyamfi committed? Right? Come on. If you are talking about one of the most accommodating appointees of President Mahama today, I'm telling you it is Sammy Gyamfi. I'm telling you, go to Sammy Gyamfi's office and you see the caliber of people, from old men, grown-ups, forgotten party heroes. I go to see them at Sammy Gyamfi's office. Sammy has time to listen to everybody who comes to his office. His doors are wide open. This one, I'm not using it metaphorically. Sammy's door, his office door, is opened. You sit in his reception and you see through his own office, sitting down, attending to party people. In fact, attending to people. Some of the people who come there are not party people. He is attending to Ghanaians. And today, you want to vilify him for extending that beyond the doors of his office. The people who go into the office, do you know what they go to receive? You understand? And so, for me, I have sent Sammy a couple of text messages. I tried to calm him down. But I would not have any problem if Sammy decides in one way or the other to want to, as it were, restrict accessibility to him. You cannot turn around and blame him. You can't turn around and blame him. And I feel so sad for those within his own party, some of whom in one way or that might have benefited, because the kind of campaign Sammy Gyamfi ran, his individual contribution to bringing the NDC to power, the reason for which some of you have gotten appointment today, you do not appreciate it, and you think that you can join forces with a failed minority or opposition to want to vilify and call for his head. Some of us would speak. If the presidency or the appointing authority would listen, they would listen. If they don't want to listen, and they think that this frivolous matter should be the reason for which they would sanction Sammy Gyamfi, then they should be, President Mahama should be prepared to sack all of his appointees. But people will engage in far more serious things than what has happened. What is this matter? What is this matter? So the opposition should better go and look for something to do. By the way, is it not this same opposition who vandalized and destroyed public property at the appointment committee level, disrupting proceedings, that the Speaker of Parliament had to set up a committee to look into their conduct between what Sammy did and what they did? Which one brought public embarrassment, global embarrassment to the country of Ghana? What kind of attitude is this? I feel scandalized that the people we call opposition, minority in parliament, would find nothing useful with their time but to hold a press conference on this particular matter. I don't expect that particular press conference would in any way influence the decision by the president or the chief of staff as far as handling this particular matter is concerned. Sammy Gyamfi has done no wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Audu Ishak, for your submission. Well, what are your thoughts on this gesture turned backlash from Sammy Gyamfi? Again, let me retort that he was invited by the chief of staff. I saw him there with my two kuro eyes in the company of his personal assistant, and he was invited into the inner presence of the Chief of Staff's office. And so, yes, he was invited and he attended. Honorable Stanley.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's Wolensi doing?
Wolensi is doing very well. By His grace. I returned from Wolensi last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was.
Is it calm? Is it peaceful?
Yeah, Wolensi is peaceful.
It's peaceful.
Yes, it's very, very peaceful,
Yeah.
and we're enjoying the peace we have in the country.
You know, I think politics is changing.
Yeah.
To the extent of having independent candidates winning seats, it gives me some excitement that going into the future we may see a lot more independent candidates win seats, and we'll change the political dynamics.
Sure.
This duopoly NDC NPP system.
Sure.
I think we must tone it down a little,
Sure.
and that is why you see this Sammy Gyamfi thing happen, and the only people who are really opposed to it are the people who themselves did worst things when they were fighting. It's so funny how we do this. But anyway, let me come to you on this Sammy Gyamfi's matter.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I really appreciate this opportunity to speak on this issue, and also thanking the viewers and people watching us now. If we look at what has happened, in fact, with the masses talking about the code of conduct that was actually, emphasized on this public scene, that the President Mahama had actually warned his ministers and all that not. If you look at it, it all boils down to what? Transparency and integrity. And if you look at what people perceive Sammy Gyamfi has done, I don't see anything evil about it. It's just that the youth within our party should watch carefully and not to join people who didn't mean the party well, before the party won. If you look at what Sammy Gyamfi did, I mean, it was just a kind gesture that he did to a neighbor. Somebody, if you look at, if I went around to listen to Agrada as well. Agrada claiming a lot of things that he's done for the party. Maybe Sammy cited her in the act and decided to, pull a few $1 or $2 to just compensate the woman. I'm sure that our faithful party supporters around either NDC or whichever party you may be supporting, you should know that when you have somebody, a figure in your party, and you can see people envying such a figure, you have to be careful the utterances you make out there. Sammy is a young man, a gentle, a lawyer, and he's such an intelligent, young man. And the party is fortunate to have such a person. We should hold that young man in a high esteem, just to let the party feel the nature of young people who are so generous to their colleagues and people out there. Sammy is somebody, in fact, I'm yet to even go to his office, but Sammy is somebody who has even got that leverage to open his doors so wide to the young people of this party, NDC. So I don't see such a person trying to do some sort of, favors out there should be turned against him. I am very sure that our party, if I may say our party, I'm caucusing with the party NDC. And I mean that party should succeed. And people in that party, in fact, the young ones around, they even complain that when they call some of our leaders, they don't even pick their calls. But you can see that Sammy is that very down to earth. He opened his door so wide. A friend of mine who has even invited me, he said, look, Sammy has called you, you don't even want to go. Try and go and see the man. I go to him anytime I want. It is not everybody you can walk to their office.
But some of them, you go there, they know you, pa.
They see you from the office cameras.
Yes. And then they pretend as if they don't even know you.
Yes.
But you see, let me say this. It's not even about the fact that when we go, he opens his doors.
Yes.
It's just to understand whether a wrong has occasioned? I think that's the first question.
To establish, yes.
We need to establish whether he committed any wrongdoing.
Nothing.
Yeah. Because otherwise people would assume that because he opens his doors, because he's kind to people, even if he committed an offense,
we're overlooking
the offense.
Yes.
So I think the establishment of the act being a wrongdoing is important and it's critical.
Yes.
These two panelists have tried
to go to that angle.
Absolutely. So I think it's important to rehash it so that
I am coming to that point.
Would understand that you are not praising him because he abused himself, but because
I am just looking at the posture that people make out of some gestures that we all display out there. Personally, sitting here, I have just returned from the constituency. Nobody can tell me that I have not offered a gift to somebody, either by public scene or even videos that you will see. I have also been a victim of such. And it shouldn't be a crime. That shouldn't be a crime. You get to a point, people talk about this, and they are the same people who would have gotten close to Sammy Gyamfi and would have wished that he does same for them. I don't see anything wrong. So the public out there should understand that Sammy's act, in its totality, if it was that evil, Sammy is that intelligent to have hidden this thing before public. He wouldn't have done it in a public glance like that.
No, he even did it in his own confined space, in his vehicle.
He did it in his vehicle. In fact, I was
back on the lady.
I was even listening to a doctor when he mentioned that he turned his back. Look, somebody asked for a help. So he entered his car to get that help for the person. He turned his back facing the woman. It was not planned that he did that kind of gesture. It wasn't planned by Sammy Gyamfi. Neither was it that the woman was also expecting such.
And she just snatched the money from him.
Yeah. And maybe even trying to give a bit of it, the woman went aggressively to pick it from Sammy's hands. And I witnessed the video. So I don't see anything wrong. All I will plead is that the young men and women in NDC should see Sammy as an asset. Going forward, if Sammy should be backlashed in this manner, trying to see what he did as evil, then I'm sorry how they would also say that they call people and they don't listen to them. They call people, they don't mind them. It is a gotcha.
The ones who are minding you are the ones who are vilifying. Interesting.
In fact, anyway, I don't think Sammy has done anything evil.
I think we've spent enough time on this matter.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I have some messages coming in, and I think it's important that I read those messages for you. This one says, my good people of Ghana, MPP people are frustrated. They are behaving abnormally, but God will help them to regain their sense. This one also says, good morning to you, Kwame. Why is the mini micro minority behaving childish and hypocritical? Sammy did nothing wrong by giving arms. Kwame, the man who took the video must be questioned. Sammy Accra, Sammy Accra, the largesse and remuneration of junior public servants like rent allowance, TNT bonus is colonial era, have been scrapped after independence by fellow Ghanaians who took over reins of their affairs. However, these senior public officers holders today, example CEOs, directors, judges, ministers, are still enjoying all the benefits that the colonial masters were enjoying in the country in the various sectors before independence and even more. Thank you very much for your message. Hamza says, Alaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, good morning to my brother. I expect Sammy Gyamfi to know better. How many party functionaries has he ever given $5 to before? Master Truth be said, arrogance of power will send NDC into opposition in 2028. The appointees of this government are so disrespectful to party functionaries. My brother, if any party appointee decides to give out dollars to people in public, should be equally ready to answer questions for himself in public. I wonder why party communicators are out there defending this act of arrogance. My brother, this issue of favors should not be mentioned at all. How many party functionaries has he favored? Has this favor been extended to? Those favors should start from home before outsiders. Okay, Alaji Hamza, I don't know if you've ever visited him and he did not open his doors to you, for which reason you are making this point, but That is your point. Why is MPP doing this to Sammy? If it is because of Agrada, why? Is she not a Ghanaian? Don't you see this kind of gesture can change her to follow Sammy to become NDC member? We need more people, even the minority leader, to join and vote for NDC. It is his own money. No one can dictate to him how to use it. All right. This one is from Wo in... oh, please stop calling the WhatsApp line. Wo and Loga. All right. Now, the next message says, good morning to you, sir. MPP is very laughable. So they think by this cheap talk of theirs, the NDC should crucify and castrate Sammy and he will join them. This will not wash. Francis from New Edubias sent in this one. I greet you and your panelists, including the viewers across the globe. I am Togbi Boso Vagadiechi Abebio. This discussion is very interesting. I just want to give a little piece of advice to all politicians. There have been a time elsewhere in this current president's first term in office that he went to one of the areas in Accra and a young lady selling eggs and sachet water was pushed by the crowd. Then the president stopped and gave her money. You remember the criticism of the opposition? Politicians must learn. Besides, I wish that the justification that given to the needy shouldn't be said because the woman in the center of the issue is not in need. Finally, when you are in a position, you see trouble. But when you gain power, you forget everything you're opposed to. A word to the wise is enough. God bless us all. Well, thank you very much for your insightful message. Good morning to you, KOD. The code of conduct should be basically reviewed and should be nationalistic. As for the displaced MPP, I think they should go and look for something better to do and organize themselves as people and party. We even saw their English graduate party chairman displaying bars of gold on national TV. The past president receiving money in public, but there was no press conferences for that. Bibi from Mosuku, oral must work demo should happen. From Kwablabi Benghazi in Pokuasi, MPP shouldn't use their corruption case to balance Sammy Gyamfi's case because they stole plenty money through corruption. Why are you forwarding messages to me? Good morning to you, Kwame. It's unfortunate that Sammy Gyamfi has fallen into this mess. But when did it become a crime for someone giving part of his hard-earned money to whoever he wants? The way the collapsing MPP is politicizing this matter is so annoying, but it won't save them from their ECG container issues, let alone their massive corruption they have exhibited. Ni Mensa, Spintex Road. This one also says, good morning to you, Pan-African TV. People do dash money to people every day, or is it wrong for doing good? So let's stop this criticism. Ishmael from Western Region in Zima. Mystic Wonder says, the so-called press conference by the micro-minority is much ado about nothing because there is no law that criminalizes Sammy Gyamfi's dollar gift. The cacophony by the MPP is a diversionary tactic to divert the attention of Ghanaians from the good work President Mahama is doing. Correlation to Honorable Selom Philbert Amenope as the new MCE of Nsawama Bridge Municipality. Okay. MPP should do the needful and advise Afenyomakin to stop embarrassing himself in the MPP party. In fact, Ghanaians don't want to hear his name again because he has messed up Parliament and Ghana as a whole. It's true that he's suffering from, Massa, James K. Saba. Please, let's not insult, okay? You could have just sent the message without. Good morning to you, KOD. Sammy should give someone money. Must that be, if Sammy should give someone money, must that be in dollar? Bright from Ho sent in this one. Good morning to you, Honorable Stanley. Congratulations by Elias, your former employee, Greenfield Lodge. Why you have the hotel?
I was the general manager.
Okay. Good morning to you, Kwame. During elections, MPs gave Suru machines. Have they also committed our offense? This one says, good politics is about numbers, yes, but not negative numbers. I agree that and likes are bad news. Thank you. I am Eddie Sapon. I think today you are with high-level hypocrites. Why can't they call a spade a spade? Okay. This one says, the woman snatched the money plus the gift money from his hands. There was a guy who called the video person to do the video. It's like a planned thing from Agrada. Good morning, cherished viewers. It's so sad how hypocritical we can be in this country. Well, Sammy is never wrong. To those who think they are more Ghanaian than Nana Agrada should keep quiet. Haters all over. Kofi from Hovota region. Okay, thank you very much for your text messages as well. I will try as much as possible and read a lot of the WhatsApp messages. I know you send a lot. Efo Fafa says, I think the MPP micro minority should stop being petty and focus on their division, the division in their party. They should think about themselves. Sammy committed no crime. Thank you very much. I am Kadesh Adam from Asujaman district. We need to view the matter of kindness in Sammy's situation more broadly and emphasize the importance of wisdom alongside kindness. Numerous individuals in the Bible faced a loss of integrity and reputation because they lacked wisdom. It is important to recognize that Sammy's humble demeanor doesn't imply that his actions were flawless. All right, so people are giving different perspectives to the matter, and I'm happy that we are all giving our perspectives to the matter. You see, asemon to da. Okay. All right. Shall we move on to the next topic? Yes. Yeah. All right. So the next topic is in relation to the economy, and the city rebounds from world's worst to best performing currency. Economic Times. I think the governor of the Bank of Ghana is doing some wonders. I think oftentimes we like to mix the glory of others with others, and so it is important that on this occasion we segregate it. We do some proper segregation, and apportion the blessings, as it were, to those who deserve it. The economy, in your estimation, why is it performing better? Actually, it's a bad question. Yeah. The currency. So we are staying with the performance of the city.
Well, it's an indicator of the macroeconomy. So we will still talk about the economy anyway. Yes, Council. So far so good. Looking at certain key macroeconomic indicators, especially the stability of the city. And as we can see, currently S&P Global has rated Ghana's economy or forex standing from SD, which is selective default, to CCC plus, and this is duly as a result of the competent and able debt restructuring program led by the current finance minister and his team and the governor of the Bank of Ghana. There's also the introduction of the gold board, which we've seen has been able to rationalize our gold exports in the sense that today gold earnings this year has increased by 53.2%, which is unprecedented in the history of our country. Council, the gold revenues this year as compared to last year has increased by over half. You understand? And which has brought in about $2.6 billion. The current forex reserves at the Bank of Ghana has also increased by $4.6 billion. And so the issue about the cedi and the dollar is all about demand and supply. And so there is more influx of the dollar into the country, and also remittances from people in the diaspora has also increased, right? And that is able to supply the demand for the dollar in our system. And I think that collectively, looking at also the government's fiscal discipline and reducing costs, right, has helped in stabilizing the dollar. And I must commend President Mahama, even though we disagree that the number of ministers should be 40 instead of 60. We think that he can lead a more leaner government with 40 ministers and cut down on other costs and rationalize other agencies, right, that seem to be doing or having overlapping mandates, right? And I think that going forward, looking at the 24-hour economy policy that they've introduced, right, we want to see more clarity in that policy to be able to tackle the real sectors of our economy and enhance productivity, right? You know, there are a lot of opportunities in this country, Council, and the IEA estimates Ghana's resource wealth to be $12 trillion. And so when Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo said that Yeti Sika so a comedian. He was not wrong. But what he was wrong was that, what he said wrongly was that, Council, Yeti Sika so a comedian, but he was the one that came to chop the money. Yes, that was the only wrong thing he did. That was the only wrong thing he did. So, Council, yes, the city is performing well because we kind of see people that are competent so far managing the affairs of the economy. The NDC government has had the benefit of seeking some guidance and consultation with Honorable Alan Kojo-Tramantin. And as you quite remember, when President Mahama won the selection, Honorable Alan Kojo-Tramantin extended his hand, a helping hand indeed, by giving him a copy of his great transformational plan. Indeed, a very comprehensive, visionary document that seeks to enhance a transformative economy in Ghana that would have some form of macroeconomic stability, right? And I can tell you that the NDC has taken inspiration from this document. I have been able to monitor some policies that they've introduced, even by the YEA, that today they are indulging in the work abroad program, right, which was also part of our national export strategy, the national skills export strategy, that we want to train Ghanaians so that they can be able to meet the demand of the global workforce. And so collectively, I can say that yes, they have done well with the city, and we can say that, Council, what we want to see now is that the interest on our loans be reduced. Yes, it is very, very important as a country if we want to develop our private sector, because if you look at the current inflow of capital to the private sector, right, domestic capital to the private sector is about 12%. The sub-Saharan African average, the average within sub-Saharan Africa is about 33%. So we are not even closer to our regional threshold. And I think that we can do better if we are able to reduce the amount of interest rates on our loans, right? And also support venture capital, right? Venture capital firms to come into Ghana, right? To support our indigenous industries, buff up their capacity and also increase productivity to export, and then help us in some foreign reserves and also help reduce the current huge unemployment rate we have in this country.
What excites me is that because of the performance of the city, largely because, I mean, there was a data that was prepared by a certain gentleman who had indicated that right from 2007, the city has devalued about 93%. And so you are looking at, right from the redenomination of the currency, you would have expected, because at the time we made to understand that 1 cedi is equal to $1. But right from that time till now, the cedi has devalued about 93%, right? But I'm just giving this background to guide us, right? That even though we are seeing some marginal increase in the health of the currency, it may not necessarily be able to help us service our external debts, because if you are able to service external debts, you know, it reduces the pressure on you. So whatever revenues you generate internally, you'll be able to now use it for capital expenditure. So now, given this, how I don't even know the question I want to ask, because it's all boxed in the context. But so, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, we currently, recovering from an economy that was placed in abyss by the Eswa Akufo-Addo Bawumia regime. And Council, that's why I kept on saying that the 24-hour economy policy blueprint should be more comprehensive and should be rationalized to support the real sectors of our economy, to enhance what? Productivity. Because if you increase your GDP, right, in a natural sense, you decrease the debt to GDP ratio, and you would have government raking revenues from corporate taxes, right, and also indirect taxes. Because when you increase your productivity, you would have a lot of goods and services in the economy. You can also export. Government can rake in a lot of money from these direct taxes that they have on these exports, right, and also corporate activities. And this can then help amortize the loans that we have taken and really reduce our debt to GDP ratio. And collectively, if they're able to do that, Council, I think that we would have a very stable economy. And our currency would perform even way far better than what we are seeing today. But people are also saying that, look, the US-China trade deal might stabilize. And then,
That's actually stabilized.
yes, because there's a deal. There's a deal. And that is why we've seen some form of appreciation of the dollar, because they reached a certain deal. But we should not leverage on only that, even though that is also another factor influencing the appreciation of the cedi. But we need to enhance macroeconomic stability and fiscal responsibility in our space. This is the only way we can be able to stabilize our currency. And of course, looking at the orientation of our economy today, right? And we need to adapt to the Chinese model. I happen to train in China. And Council, I can tell you that if you go to the various Chinese universities, they have what we call tech and startup incubators. Every university in China has tech and startup incubators, incubating the next unicorn to take over the world. Be it in tech, in industry, whatever. We need to replicate same in Ghana. We have a lot of potential within our youth. Today, if any young person has an idea, right, to replicate even this iPhone in Ghana using Ghanaian resources, right, where does the person get help from? A person who is in university doesn't have even the ability of getting some form of assets to be able to collateralize with any loan he's going to seek from the bank. Right? Government should have deliberate policies in place to support. And that is why I'm calling for President Mahama to allocate the 1% revenue from the COVID levy, right, that he promised to scrap, to support young entrepreneurs to enhance productivity in our economy.
It's a wonderful moment for Ghana to go through this, especially when we've gone through some series of challenges before this government comes in. Looking at the growth rate, the current government is emphasizing on the internally generated funds that are coming.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So for us to be able to manage it well, once that is controlled, then it has a very triple effect positively on the economy of Ghana. So therefore, cedi would be, gaining some weight because of the internally generated funds are protected, and I'm sure that the other incomes that comes around comes to boost the economy. And as you can see, a lot of work is under, is going on, if I may say, right from the finance minister. You can see the man started with some prudency. He started with some sort of smart works that Ghana needs. Even if you look at when he came into reading his budget for the year, you can see the man brought us a very unique way of, getting some figures involved. And he did it so smart that he read it, brought it to Ghanaians within the shortest possible time. It was the first time a finance minister was able to capture his kind of plans and brought it out to us in that fast manner. So I am of the view that because even the way the great countries like USA is trying to shift its attention from us, we're also trying to find our way out. So finding our way out, we have to lean onto other economies that are doing well all around the world. So China is one of the anchors, if you see, that we are trading with. And most of our works that we are doing as a nation, in fact, leaning on China gives us the leverage. In fact, dollar in a sense, if we want to grow as a nation, we shouldn't lean on dollar too much. It is not the only currency. I remember in 2010 when we went into redominating our currency. We wrote an essay at the time that I was in UCC then, we wrote an essay where we were trying to find out the possible challenges CD was going to face.
I was in KNUST.
Yes, sure. So when that came out, we wrote a very heated debate. We had a very heated debate that, look, whatever we would do, major currencies will come after us. They come after us in so many ways because they wouldn't allow Africa to, have its way out. And I mean, specifically Ghana, they wouldn't allow us to have a currency that would be challenging the major currency at the time, which was dollar. So you can see that this whole works that we're doing with us, I know that we have a future. We have a brighter future to move on with the way we are currently running. If you look at the past, where funds that came in were passing through, were having leakages all over. This time it's not like that. And the way we start, if we want to continue that way, why are we not even expecting better reduction in the way dollar is rising? Dollar rose from 4 CD to 8 CDs to 12 CDs and to 15 CDs, 16 CDs, and even at a point it was getting to 18 CDs.
Yeah.
So
we even got scared of get to 20, if you remember.
Oh yes, yes. So if we change government, we change government with a purpose. We change government with a purpose. Yeah. And you can see John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, is doing everything possible to make sure that he's in touch with his ministers to make sure things work better. And even the reduction, like Doc said, the reduction of ministers from even 120 thereabout to 60. That's just 50% to 60. That alone is able to, harvest a lot of, chances for us. And that, in its sense, contributes to our economy so greatly. Monies were wasting. People kept dollars in their rooms. People kept dollars under their bed for whatever reason they had. Now, people are, getting afraid as to how they will spend the dollar. If we see anybody complain at this point in time that, this government is not doing well, it is just because they are not able to bring their dollars out to spend the way they want. And they would have wished that the dollar rises up for them to gain. But for me, I think that we are going to do better than even the current state of our economy. And I'm sure that when we hit the programs that John Mahama have, for instance, he has, for instance, the agri sector, that we are trying to measure a whole effort onto the agri. If the programs start to enroll, then of course we are going to even see better and formidable economy as we speak.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable. Few messages and I come to the shack. This one simply says, good morning, Pius, on Facebook. Says, good morning, Patrick M. Ngetia. Pius, of course, says, seriously, is it a topic for discussion? Johnny Kujo says, good morning to you, KOD. These MPP people are not telling us the law that Sammy has breached, but they are demanding that he should be sacked. But who is, are you, what kind of man is
I can be sorry.
It's
funny.
Masa.
It's funny.
Emmanuel Demenya says, Mankaya, good morning. Kwame, MPP should tell us the law Sammy has breached. KO, the Shadow Vice President, I want to know whether giving out money is a crime in Ghana. Musa Batuan Kumasi says, the minority led by Afenyo Makin has clearly overridden their usefulness, holding a whole press conference over an issue that has zero bearing on national development is nothing but a display of political desperation. Isaac, let me come to you.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm sure our viewers and every other person who has been in Ghana for the past 8 years would admit that there was a time that we felt less of a people. That this country's economic management was handled in such a manner that it became so topical, to the extent that even those who hitherto did not, as it were, engage or dabble in economic analysis were compelled to do so, because it affected almost every facet of our daily lives. Now, in a country where we are largely import dependent, we know that exchange rate variations or fluctuations, for that matter, have a huge impact on what we do. In fact, Kwame, only 2 days back or so, I saw somewhere that Guta, as it were promising that, or they were pledging, or as it were advocating for a reduction in the prices of some essential goods that people were engaged in terms of trade and all of that, simply because they think that there has been a certain stability or a certain constant fall in the dollar as far as its relationship with the Ghanaian cedi is concerned, or an appreciation in the value of the cedi for a certain time, considerable time now. And so for me, when these things happen, and it is not artificial, it is not propagandist, it is real, people feel it, and then these are some of the attendant consequences or impacts that it would have in the lives of the people, then you cannot but get excited about it. We know that economic management is a very essential part of the kind of politics we do. True. Every politician or political party that wants to win political power in Ghana, they premise their performance on what they will do about the economy. And so if we have such an essential aspect of the economy, such as managing the currency, being done in such a phenomenal manner, I think that it is only appropriate that we appreciate those and commend those who are engaged in it. But we only hope that it's not going to be a 9-day wonder. We need to put in place long-term systemic safeguards that would ensure that it would continue to hold its strength. I mean, the cedi would continue to hold its strength against our major trading partners. And going forward, we then would be able, as it were, to reap the benefits thereof from the prudent management of our currency. For now, I think that we must commend the Bank of Ghana, we must commend the Finance Ministry, we must commend, most importantly, the Gold Board, where Sammy Gyamfi is, the one being vilified for nothing. We must commend the Gold Board, because as part of the reasons for leveraging the PMMC into a gold board is the fact that we must rationalize the gold trading industry in such a manner that it will support the strength of the currency, and that is exactly what we are seeing.
All right, thank you very much, Audi Shak, for that succinct delivery. Let me read a few more messages. Kwame, have you heard any lawyer from MPP talk about Sammy's benevolence? Honorable Kabiru and the Northern Brothers are being used like Baumia to portray their ignorance. The MPP will surely make Northerners nothing in politics. Ivory Coast from Bolga East sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, KOD. Sammy is still our darling boy, and he should not be perturbed by whatsoever the opposition is saying. Suleimana from Jema in Kintampo South. This one also says, good morning to you, lawyer KOD, and your esteemed guests. My thoughts on Sammy Gyamfi's issue with Agrada. Double standard is evident in the treatment of Sammy Gyamfi's actions compared to those of the MPP under former President Akufo-Addo. While the MPP leaders swiftly condemned Sammy Gyamfi, they themselves were involved in numerous scandals, including the Daparas case, Charles Bisu's case, corruption issues surrounding the Poalugu Dam, National Cathedral, COVID-19, etc., etc., without facing accountability. In contrast, Sammy Gyamfi's actions, which constituted a gift rather than corruption or theft, are under intense scrutiny. At most, his actions might warrant suspension. Oh no, Massa. Good morning to you, my respected KOD. There's nothing wrong with Sammy Gyamfi giving cash to someone. There is no law against that. The uproar is because Sammy, in opposition, criticized the MPP for exhibiting opulence, lavish spending. So his lack of discretion is that he should have known that he criticized his opponents before. he should have not given the money out in public, particularly to Agrada. Yakubu from Tamale sent in this one, and this one also says, good morning to you, Kwame. During elections, MPs gave sewing machines. I think I've read this one already. This one also says, my boss man, with regards to Sammy's gift to Agrada, he has done nothing wrong. What about those who buy houses, cars for people? This hypocritical, useless, and senseless propaganda should not be given attention at all. Mohammed Seydu from Tamale Central, to be precise. Kwame, don't we have intellectuals in the super micro minority again? Why are they handling our super brother Sammy Gyamfi's case as if they don't know the law and our constitution? Why have they suddenly forgotten what went on in the past 8 years? I call their press conference very uncultured. Kobe from Kumasi sent in this one. This one says MPP party should at least talk about Sammy. MPP should be the least party to talk about Sammy Gyamfi's issue. They defended cash for seat, where they equally worried about Sila the Paris dollars in his house, in her house. They have reduced propaganda to hypocrisy. Richard from Nagrongo, hashtag oral must work. This one also says, good morning to you. If MPP want to get 32 in the next election, they should better change their minority leader. If not, 20% is for them. All right. This one's from Sent from Ability in Wa. Good morning to you, KOD. If President Mahama sacks Sammy Gyamfi, I'll go out and demonstrate against that. Ismail Adam, Chairman, Swami Kim Faisal, Ward B, NDC. Thank you. This is what our opponents want. We've expressed our sentiment and revulsion. It's time to join our brother Sammy Gyamfi and defend him from our opponents. We shouldn't make him feel he's alone in this. United we stand, divided we fall. Alhaji Mustafa at M3 Global Company Limited. Thank you, Alhaji Mustafa. I've read your message. Stop typing. Good morning to you, Kwame. My name is Kujo. MPP will be in a position for 30 years. Good morning to you. Sammy is always a giver. He gave me some money for setting up my business last year. So what is wrong when he gives money out? All right. This one also says, good morning to you and your cherished viewers. Don't worry. Communicators, keep on defending Sammy. I never see his video of sharing money in opposition now. His government is sharing money. Abdul Rahim from Tamale. All right. Thank you very much. MPP, sit down and think about reorganizing your party, which is in tatters, and stop indulging shameful vindictiveness. Ike, Tevia, Tanigbe, Nieho, thank you very much.
What all must work?
Yeah, the demonstration must happen.
Yes,
they have free time on their hands too much.
Yes, to even add to this, members of the MPP that are even supporting Sammy's stance and calling what some of their colleagues are doing a useless propaganda. Owusu Bempa, who is the Deputy Communications Director of the MPP, has said out publicly that what Sammy Gyamfi did was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And came out publicly to defend him. So that's why I'm saying that there are two sides of the coin. There are Nana's People's Party and there's a New Patriotic Party. And it's those, excuse me to say, riffraffs from Nana's People's Party that are making all this brouhaha about Sammy Gyamfi's issue.
Sure.
Not
it's true.
Real members of the MPP.
No.
All right, thank you. I'll be activating the phone lines in the next 5 minutes. The last topic for today is a constitutional question which has been raised by the minority. Fortunately, we have a member of parliament here. Fortunately, we have a law student here. Fortunately, we have I don't know whether you're a student of law. You just love constitutional law.
No, I am a public admin.
All right.
Erudite.
NPP is raising concerns about the, if you like, lack of compliance with Article 60 of the Constitution. It talks about when the president is absent, the vice president ought to work in the stead of the president. In the absence of the vice president, so if the president and the vice president are not around, the Speaker of Parliament, if the Speaker of Parliament is not around, the Chief Justice. According to the minority, all three of them are not in the country, and there is no acting Chief Justice to act. And so they are raising a constitutional concern. Alishak.
Well,
so they are failing to recognize the acting chief justice.
Why would they not recognize it?
Because that's what they are saying. Well,
No, but first and foremost, then we need to go and look at the Article 146, which empowers the acting chief justice. Because the Article 146 is what is that Article 146 indicates or provides that in the event that the chief justice is incapacitated, is or whatever, the most senior judge at the bench should act should act as the chief justice, right? So does the word acting take away any powers from whoever is acting in that capacity? I am not sure. And so if you go back to Article 60, once we have an acting chief justice, the state clearly falls on him. I do not see anywhere where there's any constitutional crisis. I think that the NPP minority, to a very large extent, they are acting like someone who is about to drown. They say that a drowning man would clutch even a straw in an attempt to save his own life. Other than that, they know quite too well that there is no basis for them to call him or to be shouting constitutional crisis anywhere. In the first instance, they are already against the processes that led to us having an acting chief justice today. Remember that they participated or they organized and led a demonstration last week on the decision to suspend the chief justice. So they are failing to recognize Justice Bafo Boni as the acting chief justice. That is the only extent and the reason for which they would be saying that there's a constitutional crisis, because they think that there is no chief justice. Other than that, the ordinary man on the street knows that there is an acting chief justice who has all the powers of a substantive chief justice. And so if he has all of those powers, why is it that he cannot be considered to be the one running the country now as president? Once the first three that take precedence over him, the Speaker of Parliament, the Vice President, and the President are out of the jurisdiction. I think that there's no constitutional crisis anywhere. And the NPP should stop this attitude of causing fear and panic, right? Must stop. This is not how to reorganize your party. They should better organize. And stop these things.
Thank you very much. Combat Isaac from Tamale North says, good morning to you, my boss. Ghana should forgive the man. Oh, that reminds me. Special good morning to Edmond Combat. Yeah, of course. Congratulations to him again as well. But also a very nice guy. Honorable, let me come to you.
Yes. I would support the Article 60 as it gives the power to the Vice President to act in the absence of the President. It goes down to affirm the Speaker of Parliament. The same rule is applied. And it comes to the Chief Justice. The same rule is applied. Here is the case, people try to make things out of nothing. The President can actually leave his power in the hands of anybody he chooses in line of his duty. And nobody, in fact, with even the article, it gives him that power to do that.
Where does it give him the power?
If you go to Article 60.
60 what?
Where 60, I think 1 would be.
There shall be a Vice President of Ghana who shall perform such functions as may be assigned to him by this Constitution of the President.
Yes.
But if you look at Article 68 is where we are looking at when the President is absent. So Article 68, whenever the President is absent from Ghana or is for any other reason unable to perform the functions of his office, the Vice President shall perform the functions of the President until the President returns or is able to perform his functions. Then you go to 9. The Vice President shall, before commencing to perform the functions of the President under Clause 6 of this article, take and subscribe the oath set out in the second schedule to this Constitution in relation to the office of the President. Then the vice president shall, upon assuming office as president under clause 6 of this article, nominate a person, blah, blah, blah. That is in the event that the president is dead.
Yes.
Then they come to 11. 11. Where the president and vice president are both unable to perform their functions of the president, the speaker shall, see, so in all of these, it's mandatory, shall perform those functions until the president or the vice president is able to perform those functions or a new president assumes office, as the case may be. Then
it goes down to 13.
Where the Speaker of Parliament assumes the office of the President as a result of the death, resignation, or removal from the office of the President and Vice President, there shall be a presidential election within 3 months after his assumption. So, I mean, the Constitution does not just give the President the flexibility to appoint anybody. The Constitution actually follows the provisions. So if the president is unable to perform his functions for whatever reason,
it will be
the vice president. If the vice president is unable to the Speaker of Parliament, the Speaker is not available to the Chief Justice. Now, in the event that the Chief Justice assumes office and for whatever reason the president and the vice president cannot perform their functions, we must hold another election. So that is what the Constitution says.
Okay.
Proceed.
So I'm of the view that I don't see anything wrong from the president passing, like moving out of the country, the vice president going, for whatever reason. It boils down to the fact that they are bringing good news to our country. That is what I can summarize. But I would say that if anything will go by, then we should not find fault with this. Once there will be somebody acting, why would somebody refuse to recognize an active Chief Justice, if in that regard? It would be out of mere or sheer greed that you think that the person should not be there. But I would assume that in the absence of the three, the president, the vice president, the Speaker of Parliament, then the Chief Justice comes in. So any political party that has a problem with this, I think it is their own cup of tea. And they should rather work on their own grounds and see, how they can move their party forward. But I think if it is partisan in this matter, I don't think we can as a nation, admit this. So, lawyer, it's within your game. It's within your ball.
Okay. You have you spoken on this matter?
Not yet.
Go ahead.
You don't want me to speak?
No, go ahead. I assumed you started. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Counsel.
Yes, sir.
I think that the MPP again is really confused, and unfortunately, they don't have their star girl in office to do their bidding, and so they are feeling the brunt of a person who upholds the rule of law. Indeed, an active or an acting Chief Justice is actually a Chief Justice and can uphold the office where all these three set persons, the President, the Vice President, and the Speaker, are absent from their office due to certain reasons beyond their control, best known to them, and also to the interests of the nation.
Yep.
I think that the MPP is confused. I mean, they don't even understand their own constitution, that today they have launched a thank you tour. And it is known that in opposition, the leader of the party is the chairman and not the flag bearer. But you can see today, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leading the party, leading the church, because they say he is a leader of the party. And that is why the chairman was angry about the whole issue with the thank you tour, and he exonerated himself from the thank you tour and sat at home, right? Because they are abusing their own constitution. And so I think in issues of law and the constitution, the MPP should be the last. I mean, the MPP used to be a party of intellects. Indeed, a party known for its prowess when it comes to the interpretation of the law and the upholding to the rule of law. A party of very noble lawyers. Today, I see a different whole picture of the MPP, and that's why I keep on referring it to the Nanes People's Party, right? And I think that they have to go to the Electoral Commission to amend their name. Yes, because they don't stand for what they were created for. the current image of the MPP, I'm confused. I don't know what the ideology is today. And so, Council, they should save us this brouhaha again. I think that whatever that is happening within our governance system is done with regards to the Constitution. The Constitution is clear about this issue. They do not admit that Justice Bafo Boni should be the acting Chief Justice. That is their own cup of tea. It is not up to them to decide. The President, in consultation with the Council of State, has suspended the Chief Justice for matters which concern the public. And as I keep on reiterating that, the judiciary has declined astronomically under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And that is why the Mo Ibrahim Governance Index has revealed to us that our judicial autonomy has declined by 50% from 2017 to 2024. And you tell me that such person should not be accountable for her actions? Right? We saw how Afenyo Maki ran to the Supreme Court in the morning and had a hearing in the afternoon where the Chief Justice was part of the panel that sat on that matter. Right? We saw the very influenced interpretation of Article 97 of 1992 Constitution to favor the political motive of the MPP. And so the MPP should save us all these brouhaha. Right. It is time for them to have some self-introspection as to why Ghanaians overwhelmingly voted against them during the 2024 election. And indeed, charity begins at home. They should fix what is happening at home.
When John Mahama suspends, if John Mahama suspends Sammy Gyamfi, I, Mr. Fuseni Barak Elias Tunji of NDC in Old Tafu Kumasi, will organize a one-man demonstration against my own party. A word to the wise is in Woolensey. And on that note, let me thank Honorable Stanley for your time this morning. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Council.
Audishak, as always, gracias to you.
Thank you, Senior.
Dr. Ramsey Inusa, the vociferous Dr. Ramsey Inusa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the very many viewers of Pan-African Television, I trust you've had a very wonderful time this morning. I've tried to read as many messages as possible. It's so easy, Charlie. The messages, please. But thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. God bless you. Bye-bye.